Once again, so thank you for joining. And we are going to talk about how books get discovered today. So, this is one of the topics that is regularly brought up by our clients, which makes perfect sense because it is of the utmost importance. And there are a lot of misconceptions about visibility and discovery. There are many authors, especially people who are beginners in the industry, new to the industry, who believe that once their book it becomes available on Amazon, Google Play Books, whichever retailer it is, that the readers will naturally find it. However, that's not exactly how it works because uploading your book is literally just the first step. It is just the very beginning because every store, every online retailer has millions of books. A few months ago, I don't have today's data, but a few months ago, I have asked AI to tell me how many books are currently available on Amazon.com, something like 40 million. So across all formats, but something around 40 million. So, and that is just the point is, there are literally millions of books that are competing for attention, and they're going to rely on algorithms, on the merchandising system, and on the metadata. Those of you who have been joining these webinars in the past as well know that the theme song of this year has been metadata and the role it plays in the discoverability of your books. We are going to touch base on that as well, but let's just take it one step at a time. What's the point? Algorithms are not random. So each retailer uses different methods. They are overall, they have a lot in common, but they're slightly different and tweaked, proprietary usually. But the point is, they all reward books that are well presented, that are relevant to customer searches, and that generate engagement. So, what we are going to be talking about today is we're going to talk how this thing works, how discovery works, how do recommendations algorithm work, what is merchandising, and how you can help. Which metadata matters the most, and the common mistakes. Point is, we want to figure out why some books are going to appear everywhere while others remain invisible, despite being amazing books. So I just want to emphasize, as depressing as that may be, great books don't automatically get discovered. Visibility is earned through understanding how to have strong metadata, how to generate reader engagement, and how retail platforms work. When it comes to discovery initially, many new publishers assume that it comes with paid ads. I just want to emphasize, paid ads are very important. However, a lot of book discovery does happen organic. And ideally, you would have these two components: organic discovery through your work through your understanding of the process and working with metadata, and paid ads, and these two would complement each other. When it comes to organic discovery, the readers are discovering books through search results, through recommendation carousels, through sections, because clients who bought this also bought this, through category bestseller lists, new release lists, personalized, homepages, email recommendation, seasonal promotions. So all of these are powered by a combination of algorithms and merchandising decisions. So, because essentially every retailer is a giant bookstore. The books that are in the window at the entrance, they're not there by accident. Something is deciding what are seeing first. And that is usually an algorithm that works in combination with the merchandising. So that being said, we're going to start with how recommendation algorithm work. So, like I said, every major store, every major retailer, Amazon, Apple Books, Kobo, Barnes and Noble, or subscription platforms. They use a recommendation algorithm to help readers find books they're likely to enjoy. They all have their own proprietary systems. They differ slightly, they very jealously guard the details, but they have the same goal. They're trying to deliver the right book to the right reader at the right time. So obviously, how this works. Their business depends on getting people the book they want quick. So they will buy and or borrow that book depending on the store. If the readers consistently find the books they like, they will spend more time on the platform and they will come back. So that is why recommendation algorithm is designed to maximize reader satisfaction. It's not simply to promote newest or biggest publisher, although those two often overlap. So the algorithms, they don't read the manuscript. They can't tell if this is the greatest book ever. They rely entirely on the information and behavior that surrounds your book to decide which user on their website might be interested. They analyze a lot of different data points. We are going to stay on the most relevant ones, on the ones that affect the process the most. So first of all, we're talking about customers' search behavior. So basically, what is the person typing in the search bar? What is the reader looking for? So every day, and think from your own perspective when you're on Amazon or wherever, and what are you typing? If you're not looking for a specific individual title, what are you typing into the search bar? Every day, literally millions of searches are entered into search bars on online bookstores. Things like cozy mystery, slow burn romance, productivity for ADHD, Mediterranean cookbook, personal finance for beginners, etc. You type in a search, and then the store needs to decide which books appear first. So to make that decision, algorithms are going to compare the search terms with your book's metadata. So they're going to look for title, for the information that are contained in the title, subtitle, description, categories, keyword, series information, and author information. So the better your metadata matches what readers are searching for, the better the chance your book has to appear in relevant search results. I want to emphasize that this doesn't mean that you should stuff your metadata with popular keywords, because retailers, especially in the last couple of years, have become very good recognizing keyword stuffing. So, for example, if your romance novel includes keywords like Harry Potter or Stephen King or something, because they're popular, readers won't find what they're expecting. They will leave the page, and this is negative behavior that can affect your visibility over time. So your metadata should accurately describe your book and naturally incorporating the terms that your target audience is likely to search for. So it is very important. During the next hour or so, we are going to cover this in more detail. But one of the things that I have emphasized in these webinars during 2026 overall has been that you want to pay attention, very detailed attention to your metadata, and that it is a fine line. So then we are going to also look at purchase behavior. Algorithms are going to look at what you have bought previously or what people bought. So what happens? For example, a large number of people purchased book one. After that, many of those same also purchased book two. The algorithm is going to see a relationship between these titles, and when someone visits book one, they're going to see book two as a recommendation. So it creates a powerful network effect. If your book starts getting purchased alongside successful books in your genre, That means that it will likely start appearing in recommendation sections that are going to show it to audiences. So that is one reason why launch campaign matter. If first readers are really interested in your genre, really like your book, their purchasing behavior will help your algorithm understand where your book belongs. So they are, again, books that keep readers engaged are very likely to be recommended. Subscription services, in addition to the what has been rented out or checked out. So purchase is not the only signal, right? Some of these platforms measure how readers interact with the content. Depending on the service, algorithm might be looking at completion rate, pages read, reading sessions, time spent, whether readers return to finish the book, whether readers continue to read the next book in a series. If, for example, you're looking at a title that is checked out frequently or downloaded frequently, but abandoned after 20%, algorithm is going to favor a book that might have fewer downloads, but is consistently read throughout. Algorithm is going to look for the engagement pattern that suggests that readers are finding value in the book. Again, for the authors who are writing series, this becomes even more important. So if readers immediately move from your book 1 to book 2, that's a strong signal that the content keeps the readers engaged. That brings us to ratings, reviews, and overall ongoing activity, or rather the fact that algorithms reward ongoing activity. So those books that have something happening, something going on, are going to remain more visible. Ratings, obviously, readers use reviews to decide whether they trust a book. If they see a significant number of reviews, if they see consistent grading, they're going to trust the book. Algorithms are also going to use reviews. Books that receive authentic reviews are telling stores that people are reading and discussing them. High ratings help, for sure, but perfection is not required. It's going to a book that has hundreds of actual reviews, so genuine reviews, that is averaging 4 point something, will often appear more trustworthy than a book that has 10 perfect 5-star reviews, because you get authentic reader engagement over time, and people, and the same as algorithms, actually believe. So also, one more thing that I want to emphasize when talking about reviews: fake reviews and manipulated ratings do have very serious consequences. Most retailers, not all of them, actively monitor suspicious reviewing behavior and attempts to game the system and play the game. As a result, it's very likely that it's going to reduce visibility and, quite frankly, often result in count penalties. So that happens, and that happens a lot. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of that, and that you know that this is really something that you don't want to even try. Also, one more thing, like I said, ongoing activity. Algorithms do pay attention to recent activity. So books are not evaluated once, so published and then evaluated. Retailers consistently reassess titles depending on what's happening. What can affect this grading? It can be a recent sales. It can be new reviews, updated editions, metadata improvement. You don't want to mess with metadata all the time. You want to think that through to begin with and get it right to begin with. But if you go back and decide that your metadata could use improvement, this is something that algorithm is going to pay attention. Price promotion, external traffic from newsletters, social media, also advertising campaigns. Like I said, ideally, paid campaigns should complement your attempts to properly place your book on the stores. Also, new books that are within the same series. So, yeah, if there is something that happens every month regarding a specific title, it's going to receive more attention from the algorithm compared to the book that hasn't received the attention in years. Like I said, very important. Don't constantly change your metadata because frequent edits can interfere with indexing, but focus on meaningful improvements. That brings me to how these things reinforce each other. For example, better metadata is going to improve search visibility. There was a question. I will get back to the questions, but we'll talk about metadata in more detail a little later. So better visibility is going to result in more page visits. A professional cover and a good description are going to increase conversions. Obviously, that increase sales. This increased sales is going to generate stronger recommendation signals. More readers can leave reviews. Reviews improve credibility. So the entire process creates a positive feedback loop. So that means that your book becomes more discoverable, more easily found. Also, the opposite is true as well. If readers don't click, if they don't buy, if they don't engage with it, the algorithms receive weak signal and they're less likely to recommend it. So I think that the important lesson in this, the underlying topic is that the algorithms themselves, they don't decide whether a book is good. They decide whether readers are likely to engage with it. So the recommendations that the algorithms are giving are based on data, on search relevance, on purchasing patterns, reading behavior, reviews, conversion, and activity. So you cannot control, as a publisher, as an author, you cannot control the algorithm itself, but you can control the signals that you're sending it. You want to do that by optimizing your metadata. And yes, I know I'm boring myself with this, but I cannot emphasize how important this is. And by this metadata, by presenting your book professionally, by encouraging reader engagement, by maintaining consistent marketing efforts. So you are increasing the likelihood that retail platforms will surface. Before we move forward, I'm going to take a look at questions. Okay, so we have a question for Eva Maria that is pertaining to her books that have been waiting in store and at Repro India and then China for more than 7 months. Eva, I'm going to leave the email address for the support team in the chat so you can reach out directly via email. So I would recommend reaching out with the details pertaining to your books to the team and they can look into this. Okay, Kelly is asking, does something like publishdrive.com backfire versus uploading on individual retailers since each has different metadata algorithm things? So no. Why? Because when you're uploading a book through Publish Drive, you are going to complete or to add all the metadata that you would otherwise add on each individual website. So in terms of algorithm and searches, it makes. How does metadata include geo? It doesn't really. It is focusing on the languages. It is, you can, when you're uploading a book, you can specify if you're looking to distribute to specific areas or worldwide. That is also one of the options. But metadata is not going to include geo unless you specifically want to target specific areas or exclude some or focus on some. Is it better to release one or two books at the time? So that really depends. I don't think there is necessarily a lot of advantages to publishing at the same time. I would keep them close together and then start advertising one and move that into the next. Not necessarily, but it's not going to affect you negatively if you do. Can we know if authors from certain countries are sorted forward while others behind? Based only on the country of origin, no. So it really, I'm curious as to why, but if there are translations or if they are from very different cultures, possible that the audience in one area is preferring something that feels familiar. But I would like to know more about I would like to know more about to the specific situations. I can look into in the specifics. Why did Everend bookstore sales decrease drastically? I don't have that information. Is that individual for is that was for your book specifically, or do you feel that they have decreased across the border for the entire industry? How do you satisfy both traditional store algorithms and AI recommendation models? Right now, they're working kind of together because there is definitely AI incorporated in all of these algorithms, especially given the huge expansion in the past couple of years. So I would say that focusing on what we have just now touched base on is going to cover both. Are books from the author with several books considered more trustworthy by the algorithm? If talking about that, this is something that algorithm might take into account in a sense that if you have five books in a series or not, it doesn't really matter. It helps if they're in a series. And those five books have have multiple true, veritable reviews. If they have good sales, if they have decent sales, if they have high rating, it is going to consider that more trustworthy than the trustworthy kind of compared to the first time author who has only one book without any reviews. That being said, just the number of books in itself, no, it is not going to make a difference. It might in the context overall, with keep taking everything into consideration. Just individual that not necessary. So, as a new published author, I'm in the process of distributing my book online. Are there advantages of distributing between Publish Drive versus Amazon KDP independently or Barnes and Noble? And is it advantageous to complete a phased approach to distributing online versus in-store book buys? So, essentially, the difference between Publish Drive versus Amazon KDP independently, Publish Drive is an aggregator. We are allowing you to simultaneously publish your book across a number of different channels. That depends on you can go to Amazon Direct, you can go to Barnes and Noble Direct as well. However, with Publish Drive, you get a much wider distribution. So it really depends on what you're looking to do. You can go to Amazon directly and use Publish Drive for the other bookstores, or you can just use Publish Drive to have everything in one place. So it is completely up to you. Ultimately, what we are doing, we're giving our clients access to a large number of stores while publishing at the same time. Okay, impression, reach, and click links. How can I improve? So we are going to talk about this overall because unfortunately we are limited with time and we can talk about individual cases on in during the webinar. We just don't have the time, unfortunately. So especially since we are going to go from the larger picture into the I will get back uh, to the other questions in a few minutes. So we're going to move to merchandising after we have talked about how recommendations algorithm work. So basically, a lot of times the first association when it comes to the word merchandising is products displayed in a store window. Essentially, the concept is very similar. So, it's the practice of promoting selected book to make them more visible to readers. So, whenever a retailer chooses to feature certain books more prominently than the others, it's merchandising. You want to be able of the difference between merchandising and advertising. With advertising, you pay to put your book in front of a reader. With merchandising, the retailer, the store, decides that your book deserves additional visibility because it aligns with the merchandising goals. Like I said, given the difference, in many cases, you can't just buy your way into these placements. Instead, your book has to meet certain criteria that make it appealing to both the retailer and customers. There are options that our team offers. So there are promotional prices, there are different sales events that you can use directly from our platform to. So I just left it in the chat. So you can take a look because you can apply to enter some of these through our platform as well. If you have browsed an online store, you have definitely seen merchandising without necessarily realizing it. So that's like featured collections, new noteworthy sections, staff picks, which I really like, best book of the month, new releases, award winners, etc. So those are all of those across major retailers, across reading platforms, all of that represents merchandising. So for readers, this saves time. So basically, instead of making the reader to go through millions of titles, retailers organize books into meaningful collections and makes browsing easier. For readers, it saves time. For publishers, authors, it creates opportunities to be discovered. Retailers use it because they want readers to find books that they will enjoy as quickly as possible. Merchandising reduces the complexity of highlighting books that are relevant to a particular audience. It's easier for the readers to find books they like or that they're likely to be interested in. Not even, at least with new releases, okay, for someone who is reading a lot of thrillers, for example, she's read everything. She needs the section that says new thriller releases because she has read all of them before. So merchandising benefits everyone involved. Readers get personalized recommendations, authors get visibility, retailers increase sales. So across the board, this is apologies. Across the board, it works for when it comes, yeah, there are going to be lists and sections that are curated by people and those who are generated by using reader data. So those that are generated by use of system. It might or might not involve AI. I don't want to speak out of turn. That differs from for each individual store. So some collections are created by the editorial teams, so humans, who review books and make lists around specific themes. So examples are going to be editor's pick, staff favorites. You have seen them for sure. Best historical fiction of 2026. So these collections involve human judgment. They involve a literary quality, originality, cultural relevance. And the other section is software creates a dynamic collection. Dynamic, it's going to change for each of us on based on reader behavior. So they're going to be a readers also love because you read this. People also bought this or frequently bought together. So you have all seen this. Most retailers actually combine both of these approaches, and the editorial team may define the theme, and then the algorithms determine which books fit best for the collection based on the performance and relevance. There is the endless question of how do the books get chosen? So this is one that we get asked a lot. There isn't a single formula. So each retailer, each store has its own strategy. And obviously the criteria is rarely made public. There are multiple factors that influence the selection. So it's going to be the sales performance. So those books that are either steadily being sold or have rapidly increasing sales, they do attract attention. Then customer engagement. So this is going to analyze how reader interact with your book. It's going to be obviously purchases, yes, but also book being added to the wish list, reading completion on subscription platform, product page views, click-through rates, etc. Also, it's going to be ratings and reviews. So authentic reader reviews provide a valuable social proof. And those with healthy review activity, so they definitely appear more trustworthy, both to humans and the algorithm systems. And metadata quality. So this is where you have the greatest control. So that basically means whether complete metadata is going to show the store what the book is about, who wrote it, which categories it should be in, and which merchandising opportunities might be appropriate. So also seasonal relevance. So obviously, cookbooks before Thanksgiving and Christmas, romances around Valentine's Day, beach reads before summer, horror novels before Halloween. Retailer constantly refresh their merchandising to match what readers are looking for at different times during the year. And also the existing popularity is going to affect as well. So merchandising isn't permanent. This means that books are going to move in and out of featured collections regularly. Title may appear in seasonal campaigns for a few weeks, and then the campaign ends, and then it's going to disappear. Books, like I said, they enter or leave the trending collections. So this is normal and this is expected. You can't control everything when it comes to merchandising decisions, but you can improve your chances. So this is focus on the fundamentals, metadata, professional cover design. It makes a lot of difference, really. Strong book description, correct categories and keywords, positive reader engagement, and definitely marketing activity. Right. So the point ultimately, and then we're going into metadata. And before we do, I'm going to go into the questions. But ultimately, what is the point? Merchandising can be very powerful tool for discoverability because it places your book in front of the readers who may not have searched for it. Different retailers have different criteria, but the goal is always the same: to recommend books that readers are most likely to enjoy. Better your metadata presentation, reader engagement, more opportunities your book has to appear in featured collections. So let me see questions. Is there a season for books on real estate? Season during the year? No. It's going to depend on the market that you're covering. So whether it's, I don't know, North America, Western Europe, etc., but there isn't going to be an actual regarding this. Let's see. What are the best platforms for paid ads for kids? Depends on where you're selling. If you're selling on Amazon, you definitely want to do paid ads on Amazon. You can also, when it comes to paid ads, I would also go for social. So depending on the target, Instagram for sure, potentially Facebook, potentially TikTok. Again, it depends on the books. Is that a platform the best for first time buyers to advertise? It's social media or social platforms are always a good place to advertise. Like I said, it really depends on where you're distributing your books. This is something that you want to take into consideration, but Meta is going to be. Does number of pages matter in the evaluation whether a book is valuable by the algorithms? Not really, but if the book is considered too short, that is going to affect. Again, it's going to depend on the book because a children's book that has 20 or 30 pages is going to be just fine. But if you're selling a book about, I don't know, there was a real estate related question about real estate, that is going to be considered too low, and some of the stores are going to reject. Does PublishTrade provide integrated access to authors' CRM platform to support authors' ability of advertising, campaigning, and promoting their books independently to buyers who have purchased their book through the online retailer linked through PublishTrade? I'm not sure if it's referring to a separate CRM because the Publish Drive platform allows you to upload and manage your books and handle portions of the advertising. However, you can't integrate different with a different platform. If there is a specific if there is a specific CRM specific case that you're looking to understand, let me know. Or you can also let the support team if we don't get to it during our the time today. Is there a season or best time to promote a memoir? Not really, but I would personally recommend nonfiction before holiday season. Because during the holiday season, we get a lot of diversity in terms of different genres that are being sold very well. So maybe that. Publish Drive should integrate with the stores it distributes to, enabling in-house promotional opportunities across those platforms. Thank you for that feedback. It is very valuable. At this time, we do offer the opportunity to handle Amazon ads through our platform, and it's also going to be improved in the upcoming period. But I definitely appreciate the feedback. Thank you for that. So moving on to the metadata. So what everyone enjoys hearing about. I know that it has been discussed a lot, but this is something you can control. And people often describe metadata as just information about the book. And there is definitely much more to it. It is true, it is information about your book, but it's the information that stores use to understand, to classify, and to recommend your book. Because, like I said, algorithm can't read your manuscript. They don't know whether the novel has dragons or detectives or recipes until they see the metadata. So every recommendation, every result, search result, every category placement, it's going to begin with the information you provide within the metadata. If it's incomplete or inaccurate, that is fairly uncommon. But if it's too generic, and that happens a lot, the retailer has a much harder time matching your book with the readers. So I'm going to talk about the basics. First of all, the title. This is the first piece of metadata that both readers and the algorithms, right? So strong title clearly communicates what your book is about. And try not to force as many keywords into the title. It's something that authors and publishers try to do, and it can be interpreted as keyword stuffing. Instead, choose a title that represents your books. The title needs to attract readers. If title feels misleading, readers are less likely to click. Algorithms reward books that the readers engage with. If the readers they dislike the title, they're less likely to engage. Therefore, algorithm is less likely to reward books. Subtitle, again, especially for nonfiction. So subtitle first gives you another opportunity to communicate value, especially for nonfiction. So you want to give information to reader. What will I learn? What am I going to read about? What you want to show is the topic, the audience, the benefit. So, for example, you can have a book that has a subtitle: Healthy Living versus Healthy Living, Simple Nutrition Habits for Busy Professionals. So the other one is going to, it sounds natural. It doesn't sound like you have been stuffing it, and it gives more information. For fiction, subtitles are less common. Usually, for the series, you're using the series name as a subtitle, and that can be very helpful. Book description. So first of all, you really need the book description. Trust me, we've had clients who were reluctant to add book description. They felt they didn't need it. The book description has two very important jobs. First, it convinces readers to buy the book. Second, it helps algorithms understand the content. So it is going to include words. A good description is going to include words that are related to themes, settings, audience, tone. If it's a cozy mystery in a small English village with an amateur detective, those concepts should appear in the description. And again, don't just repeat keywords over and over. This is something else I'm saying from the experience. So first of all, it makes the description unappealing. It's unpleasant to read. You don't want to read it. And also, modern algorithms are very sophisticated, and they're going to reward relevance over repetition. It's supposed to be your sales copy and your metadata. Categories. If you remember one thing about categories that I have said during this entire year in our webinars, try to publish in smaller niche categories. So many authors choose very broad categories because they believe they're going to reach more readers. And the fact is that the opposite is often true. So, for example, fiction. There are millions, tens of millions of books. The alternative, World War II historical fiction. So you're going to reach fewer readers. Actually, you're going to have potential to be displayed to fewer readers, but you're going to be displayed your book is going to be shown to readers who want that. So they're going to give you more discoverability because the more specific the category is, the better it explains where your book belongs. And it's going to help readers who are looking books that are matching their interests. Choosing the right category, incredibly important. Don't go too wide because it's going to actually diminish your visibility. And also, if you're going for the right category, it is going to increase your chances of in the bestseller list or recommendation section. Keywords. When it comes to our Publish Drive platform, there are 7, you can add up to 7 keywords, at least 3. Add as many as you can. So you want to use keywords that describe things like themes, audience, setting, subject matter, time period, writing style, reader interest. Don't use just fantasy. That, with the current state of the industry, that can mean anything. Use dragon rider, epic fantasy, found family, magical academy. So, what reader is actually looking for? Also, try not to repeat the title or author name as keywords. So that is typically not going to add further to your discoverability. So ultimately, also the author profile for some of and the way, obviously, all of us look. If you like the author, you're going to go looking for their books. So you do want to include the author information as well. Also, I have to I have to mention the cover page as well. I know that we are running out of time. Maybe I've been over enthusiastic about the topic, but there are definitely some things that I want to mention still. So, cover design. The algorithm is not going to estimate whether the cover is beautiful. They are going to evaluate the way readers respond. First thing they see before they have read descriptions or anything, they see a cover. Professional cover is going to definitely increase the chances of reader clicking on the page, spending more time reading, browsing, reading the description, adding to their wish list. So all of these are positive signals for the retailers. If readers consistently skip your book and they click on similar titles, that is interpreted by the platform as reduced relevance. So the algorithm is not going to reward the cover. It's going to reward the reader behavior the cover creates. Pay attention to the reader expectations when it comes to covers for your genre. You can use AI now. Most, if not all, the platforms, most do allow use of AI. So you have generators. One of them also available on our platform that you can use. And the cover is extremely important for your visibility. And obviously the reviews. You want your reviews to be there. You want them to be genuine. You want to encourage your readers to leave reviews. So there are some common mistakes that happen. So we have touched based on this, but you want to make sure that your metadata is on point. Prepare it before you start uploading. Check it, double check it. You can use different services for ideas for this. Categories, super important. So think about that, consult with the other authors, but make sure that the categories you're using are relevant to your titles. Make sure that your metadata is not misleading. Pay attention to your cover. You want to make sure that your cover meets the expectations for the specific genre and also the quality as well. You want to make sure that you also do have marketing activity. There is a large number, and we are going to talk about paid advertising again before the end of the year, but that you really need to plan marketing activities. Different ones, not necessarily the ones that are most costly, but you need continuity. And also, like I said, so avoid metadata changes. So unnecessary edits that happen a lot can interrupt the retailer indexing. That's something that you want to. When you're researching your category, study best-selling books that are similar to yours. Look at the descriptions, covers, categories, keywords. It's going to help you get ideas about what you can do with your book. When it comes to promotions, you can do social media, author websites, dates, reader communities, promotions. There are a lot of book talkers, a lot of booktubers who review and talk about books on their channels. So there are definitely a lot of things that you can do to gain momentum and to keep interest. I'm going to take a look at the questions now. But before that, I just want to summarize just in a 2 sentences what we have been talking about. As you know, that books are discovered through more than advertising. Algorithms are going to look at the customer behavior and engagement. Merchandising is going to put books in curated collections. Metadata is going to factor very strongly the discoverability. So you want to make sure that your professional presentation increases reader engagement, and it's going to strengthen the algorithm recommendation. So visibility happens over time. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens through quality metadata, through reader satisfaction, consistent promotion, and ongoing. In so each improvement gives retailers more reason to recommend your book. There is, unfortunately, no single trick that guarantees success. But by understanding how the process work together, you can improve your chances of reaching others. Let's see. Let me see the questions. Does Publish Drive handle audiobooks? Yes, well, you can definitely publish audiobooks through us. 7 common mistakes first home buyers. Yeah, that's okay. I have done all that, but there are no results. So it is not enough that books are on various platforms. Can you do something else? You can look at what I would do first. I would check if there are what kind of results you're seeing on individual platforms. If there are some that are performing better, focus on them. Look at the metadata. Absolutely look at the metadata, every single detail. Look at the cover, look at the description, keywords, look at the categories. Do you have any paid advertising in place? If none at all, that is also going to affect visibility. I would start with those. Does Publish Drive keywords allow authors to create phrases versus single words? This is valuable as different online publisher distributors allow keywords as phrase. Yes, you can use phrases as well. It doesn't have to be single words. Okay. Any other questions? I know that we are done with our hour.